What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Creatively Driven Podcast. My name is Josh McKenzie, and in this podcast we talk about anything that inspires us creatively, be that through art, photography, music, video. The world is your oyster when it comes to creative outlets, I feel. And today we're going to talk about action cams. You're being filmed on a DJI Osmo Action 5, and it's essentially like the same form factor as a GoPro. Now, I've only had some DJI products, but the world of action cameras is insane, and I think there are a lot of different ways to use it to help storytelling. For me, in this instance, I am able to drive while doing a podcast. 10 years ago, they've probably been out that long, but not that long ago, it wouldn't have been possible. And I think it's crazy to see some of the video guys that I follow for automotive things. There's a couple guys. One is Greg Dinges. His Instagram is Greg's Video Garage, and another one is Mark Urban. His is I want to say Mike Urban Video, and they both work with WEC and FIA. Like, they do crazy video work, and I've seen Greg recently do a lot more things with action cams. He shoots for Aston Martin, and some of the shots that people are able to get with that are insane. Actually, even not in the action cam realm, with suction cups, which is what this is mounted off of right now, you can really add a lot of creative options for camera mounting. I've done it where I've mounted it on the hood of a vehicle, put on my polarizing filter, look into the vehicle with the microphone on, and I'm talking, and it's that outside perspective. It's something that you wouldn't see every day, and you would only basically see in a movie or some kind of a video. It's not a perspective that you're used to seeing. Normally you're used to looking out, not looking in. So when it comes to these action cams, there are some crazy mounts. I have seen some with like the vest or like helmet cam. The options are almost limitless. Honestly, I've seen some very cool things that has just jogged your memory. Sorry, maybe not jogging your memory, but just jogging your creativity. And I've seen some where they've been on like a plate coming through something. I've seen some where they get mounted on the side of a vehicle, showing some cool wheel shots. Another DJI product is the Osmo Action. Excuse me. They have really capitalized on the market and made an incredibly affordable option for doing not just automotive videography, but any kind of moving videography. Now they have like stabilizing arms, kind of like a gimbal for that, where they're going to take out a lot of the vibration and a lot of the motion out of your footage and pretty much keep your subject as still as possible, which is what we want when we're filming cars and stuff like that. Unless you want to go handheld on something, that's going to be completely different. But depending on what you want to get out of things, stabilization on top of what's already inside of these things is going to be paramount for getting, cinematic looking footage. And that's to say that these have bad stabilization is not a thing. The in-body image stabilization on these action cams is unreal, honestly, and I haven't even really put it to the test. I've had some of my mirrorless cameras mounted on suction cup mounts inside of cars going around tracks, and they handle it quite well too. And you have to figure your suction cup mount to your windows are going to be solid, so they're going to be indicative of vibration. Your image stabilization systems have come so incredibly far from back in the day. My Canon 6D that was released in 2012, it didn't have it. So I don't know when exactly in-body image stabilization came out, but I can tell you it is a game changer for anything that has any movement to be compensated for. With these action cams, you can really, the sky is the limit, quite honestly, and quite literally. You don't have to worry about a lot of things. They have a wide lens, so stabilization is actually going to be better anyways, but you also got that much more field of view for a different perspective. And the resolution on these nowadays, I believe like the Insta360, I think those are now like 8K, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that's wild. And these sensors are pretty small. I think this is like a 1 inch or an inch and a third sensor. I believe it's almost the same sensor as what's on my drone, which is a DJI Air 3S. Similar size anyways, it may not be exact, but what you're getting out of these things is absolutely incredible. For the 10-bit color in it is so easy to work with. If you look back at like the 8-bit it's in a lot of cameras up until, I want to say, the Sony a7 IV that I can think of on a Sony system, because that's what I shoot. I think that came out in 22, somewhere around there. And the flexibility for that is just crazy, because the 8-bit I have seen some people really, really get the most out of 8-bit, but it seems like it's a long time coming. You have to really understand the boundaries of how much you can push your image, so exposure has to be nailed. This actually, excuse me, you can set an auto ISO for a specific exposure. Like, for instance, right now I'm at like a third of a stop, because I know that the highlights around me are going to be brighter. I'm going to be darker in here, but the auto exposure is actually incredible, and it actually is the same on the DJI drones. I've done that before just as an experiment. A lot of people, for the cinematic approach, would probably try and keep it at 1 ISO and full manual. I don't want to say it's a flex, but it's more just the skills acquired that show that you can do it and you get the most out of an image. A lot of people try not to do the auto exposure because a lot of times it feels out of place, out of whack. Like, the exposure could be way too high and it's not usually very accurate. With this setup, it's actually insane. It seems to be very fast. It reads the environment really quickly and makes your adjustments in next to nothing for time. Like, it's almost natural, like through the feeling of seeing it through your eyes. Say if you're shooting it inside, it's a high ISO, say like a 1200 ISO or something, and you walk outside where it's going to be dropped to nothing. That transition from exposure value from the inside to the outside it's not seamless, but it is really stupid good, honestly. It's crazy what they've been able to accomplish with cameras nowadays, and these action cams are incredibly affordable. I believe this one was, I want to say, $479 at the suction cup mounts. This one is from Delkin. I can't recall the name of the mount. It's something Gecko. But yeah, Delkin mounts, unreal. Bang for your buck is second to none. I don't know what other options are out there, honestly, but I found it, and I have some that have 2 suction cup mounts and one is just a single, and you can have a lot of different adjustability. Pair that with a magic arm and you can literally do so many things, and it is crazy. You you don't have many limitations. And again, with the quality you can get out of these versus like a Hollywood image, it's not that far off, and you don't have to pay an arm and a leg. Some of the setups I've even had over the years from inside a car, again, it's overkill, but you're into the thousands. And the fact that you can get this camera with the mount for, you know, $600, 650 Canadian, probably less than 500 US, it's crazy. And you can do hyperlapse or time lapse with these. Photos, again, it's a wide angle, so it opens a different creative perspective, because I believe you can zoom in and out a little bit, but it's not like a DSLR where you've got like a 24-70 for a focal length. But you do have some creative freedom to be able to zoom in and out. But I think the best part about it is right now the front of the camera is facing me. There's actually a small monitoring screen on it that still shows me my white balance, my exposure, the length of time I've been recording, a battery life indicator, and it's crazy. Like, again, you don't ask for much more for things that you need for tools for recording, and you have it. You don't need to look into many more options. Some of the other options that they have are going to be different mounts. I have seen, like, they have the vest that you can buy, and I know they have like a sticky, like a 3M double-sided tape for a helmet cam, and I think there's something else too. I think I've seen it like just for like the selfie stick kind of thing. Really, you can get a tripod if you truly wanted, or a monopod, you know, extend it out and, you know, do something creative. But again, the Insta360, I think, is something that is, I've never experienced it myself, but looking at that is a completely different perspective. That just brings like a full, I'm doing a full circle. Like, to me, it's like a globe. It's kind of like you're looking at what a globe is going to show you. And the idea that you can have that is crazy, especially behind cars. I've seen that behind cars where they like mount it on a spoiler or on the roof of it, and you just see it, you know, doing its thing. So cool. I think that we are at a point with visuals where the perspectives are so unique, for one, and I think it also stems from people need to constantly be stimulated. They need things to be interesting, and they get bored fast, and they need those interesting things that really get them, you know, they get their interest piqued and make them want to reach outside the box for creating new things. You have to catch somebody's attention pretty quickly for them to want to stick around. Like, honestly, how many people are going to be in this video still 13 and a half minutes watching Action Cam? If you made it this far, please let me know in the comments if you've made it this far. And let me know if you've had any Action Cam experience or any type of different perspective than what one would normally see things as, or what they would perceive things to be seen in a certain way. Some people look at like a car video and think of it, you know, a car going by, or maybe perhaps something from the inside. But these Action Cams, again, it's the packaging that is the truly brilliant thing. And you don't have to have these giant cameras to get crazy quality. Not to mention the fact that a lot of things are basically absorbed through social media, which is going to be watched on a phone anyways. So it's not like we need Hollywood screens to look at these things. And even at that point, a lot of the time you're not going to be able to tell the difference, and that is insane. So with that, guys, I'm going to leave that here. If you've had any experience, let me know. If you have seen some other creators' work that inspires you, or that you think really stands out, or that needs to be shared, let me know in the comments. Definitely look up Greg's Video Garage on YouTube, and look up Mark Urban. He does some crazy stuff. I do find Greg has been one that's been pushing the Action Cams a little bit more, but Mark definitely does some insane work with, WEC and FIA, which are like the endurance cars, the up to 24-hour races, and it's crazy. That, to me, I can watch that stuff all the time, especially they're behind the scenes to kind of show different shots, different settings for getting different shots. To me, it just, gets my creative juices flowing. So again, thanks a lot, guys, for following along, and subscribe for more creative fire. Follow me along on whichever platform you decide, whether that's YouTube or Spotify, and have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.